Things just got a lot more interesting in Calgary as the Flames picked up a massive comeback win against one of the league's best in the Colorado Avalanche. While the Flames' odds to make the playoffs are slim, there's still a chance to make the postseason as we're going to break down the odds and schedules involved in the Western Conference playoff race ahead of tonight's game against the Utah Hockey Club. We're going to get into all that and more in this video, but first I want to welcome you to Flames Digest. I'm Mark Griffith. If you're new around here and you love the Flames, make sure you subscribe so you can stay up to date on all the latest news, updates, reports, and rumors revolving around your Calgary Flames. We would love to welcome you to the Flames Digest family. Things got a lot more interesting, and it all started with last night's game. If you missed it, I feel sorry for you because once again, it was an electric win for the Calgary Flames, this time in a shootout. It was like the Flames at the beginning of the season able to win in a shootout, but a 3-2 win, yet another comeback win, and this one was kind of funny because the Flames, they scored 2 goals in 32 seconds, and those were really the only 32 seconds that mattered the most in this game for the Flames. This game had a bit of everything. There was, a bit of physicality. We saw Blake Coleman and Cale Makar, which was crazy. Fourth line energy, bringing the goals, as we'll see in the box score in a second here. We had overtime where the puck almost squeaked into the Flames net, but couldn't. And of course, the Flames getting it done in the shootout. First, before we get into the box score, I wanted to just show this. So the way the shootout went was Sharon Govich, Sharky, the only man who scored in the shootout in this game. It was enough to give the Flames the 2 points that they desperately need to stay alive in the playoff race. Sharky, he's heating up, I guess, if you include shootout goals as heating up, as he did have that goal against the Oilers as well. But the Flames were getting outshot like crazy going into the third period of this game. And of course, the Flames turned it on and were able to obviously bring it to out of regulation, extracurricular activities, if you might say. And while Colorado did end up outshooting the Flames in this one, the Flames made it a tight game in the end and, of course, got the win. Face-offs, as per usual, the Flames weren't able to do it. Neither team scored on the power play in this one, but the big thing was that the Flames, they often do this, but they out-hit their opponent. But not only did they out-hit the Avs, they more than doubled the Avs in hits in this one. 47 hits in 65 minutes. That is a lot of hitting going on. The Flames played physically, and boy, they deserve the win as they obviously have this road trip on the swing here. If we get into the box score now, Dan Vladar. This is where things even get more interesting, as Vladar has been so good since the Four Nations break. And it's not like he's playing against easy opponents. He's not going up against, San Jose and Chicago every game. He's playing against hard opponents. This one, Colorado, he gives up just 2 goals on 30 shots, the .933 save percentage. Wonderful game from him once again. Through the first 2 periods, he really kept the Flames in this one. He didn't have to make any super flashy saves per se, but he got the job done. Definitely deserves the win. And the people who aren't Team Tank, the people who want the Flames to continue to try and make the playoffs, a lot of them are starting to say, whoa, maybe we should play Vladar a little bit more, which is nuts because of how good Dustin Wolf is. But let's get into the skaters who got on the score sheet again. It was the fourth line leading the way, the Adam Klapka legacy game. In case you missed it, he gets a goal and assist. Ryan Lomberg also gets a goal and assist. Kevin Rooney, the center of that fourth line, gets an assist as well does Weegs on the back, and phenomenal game from the fourth line. Again, it was 2 goals in 32 seconds. That's all it really took for the Flames to take this one to a shootout and obviously get the dub, but wonderful energy from that fourth line. It really seems like this is how the fourth line should be constructed if the Flames want to remain as a competitive team going forward. And there are actually some amazing quotes from this win that I wanted to share with you guys. So the first one here is from the man himself, the main man, Darth Vladar, Dan the man. So he said, belief, belief, belief is all we've got, goaltender Dan Vladar said post-game. We might not have the strongest team on paper, but I think we have the strongest team deep inside our heart. That is one of the most wholesome quotes you will ever read. Talking about belief and belief, strength in the heart. Oh my goodness, Dan Vladar. He already has won over the hearts of Flames fans, but saying stuff like that, I mean, come on, it just tugs at the heartstrings. Vladar turned aside 28 of 30 shots in 65 minutes and stopped all 3 shootout attempts. Yes, he did. Phenomenal performance from Vladdy. So Calgary still sits 5 points back of the red-hot St. Louis Blues for the second wildcard spot in the Western Conference, but despite their slim playoff hopes, it's clear the Flames aren't going down without a fight. It's just the vibes of the team, like we kind of talked about in yesterday's video. More quotes here. There's no quit in this locker room, said forward Ryan Lomberg, who scored Calgary's first goal to ignite the comeback. We kind of been doing it all year. proud of the guys. Who doesn't love a bit of Lamborghini, especially when he's leading the way? He's such a good leader. Calgary entered the season as major underdogs, with most pundits predicting a last place finish over a playoff berth. True. It's amazing, said forward Adam Klapka, who scored the game-tying goal. It shows how strong this team is. The Flames will get right back at it for another crucial game Tuesday in Utah, which we'll get to later. But all of the players, the guys who had the star performances, so Vladar, Lomberg, Klapka, they're all saying it. You know, it's all a belief that this team has, and they can all feel it together, and it just enables them to get these wins. Now, it doesn't obviously happen every single game, but a game like this was very impressive for a team that, you know, just yesterday everyone was saying they're done. And, I mean, it's still, the playoff odds are a little bit tough, so why don't we get into that? The playoff odds are a little bit tough, but the belief is there, which matters a lot. So we've got a bit of an article here. I believe it comes from Colton Pankill, and he wrote, so of the Flames' 9 remaining games, let's get into some schedule talk here, because this is what matters most. Of the Flames' 9 remaining games, 4 will come against playoff teams, the Golden Knights twice, the Wild, huge one there, and the LA Kings. They will also take on the Sharks and Ducks twice, in addition to Utah this evening. So a little mix of easier games and tougher games. Not the hardest schedule remaining, but some have it easier out there. So as for the Blues, they will play 3 playoff teams over the remaining 7 games. The Avs, they're easy to beat, clearly. The Jets and the Oilers. Their other 4 outings will be against the Red Wings tonight, which, you know, the Red Wings are super cold right now. The Penguins and the Kraken and Utah. So some easier opponents there for sure. The Blues, they really only need to win, you know, 3 or 4 more of their games remaining, and there should be some wins in there for them, which is tough. I mean, let's just be honest. Jordan Binnington has put that team on his back. I mean, the offense has been great, but ever since the Four Nations, that just reignited Binnington's career, which, you know, as the team trying to catch up with him, isn't exactly fantastic for us. But let's continue here. Based on MoneyPuck's odd, the Flames currently have a 22.7% chance of making the postseason, while the Blues had a much more promising 85.4%. That said, if the Flames can pick up a win tonight, their odds can increase to 33%, proving just how pivotal this outing is. Of course, the one against Utah. What adds an even more interesting element to all this is that the Wild may be catchable. We always talk about the Blues. We have to talk about the Wild as well. They currently sit 6 points ahead of the Flames while having played 2 more games. They have a very favorable schedule, however, with the Dallas Stars being the only playoff team they go up against in their final 7 outings. So the Blues have an easier schedule than the Flames, and the Wild have an even easier schedule than the Blues. Now, that being said, of course, it's any given Sunday. It's a competitive league. There's so much parity, but at this point in the season, the better teams usually end up winning when they're playing meaningful hockey. I know teams want to play spoiler, but still, it just, again, the odds are stacked against us, but again, you just never really know which way it can go. The Blues' blazing hot stretch means that even with last night's win, the Flames sit 5 points back of a playoff spot. It isn't quite as daunting of a gap as it sounds, however, as Calgary does have 2 games in hand, as we know. If you want to pause and zoom in on the standings, I mean, we see them all the time, but as we know, 5 points back. It's funny how no one talks about Vancouver anymore, but the Flames must play their best stretch of hockey over their remaining 9 games, the first of which will come tonight against the Utah Hockey Club. So let's get into tonight's game without further ado. I believe it's still a team that we have never beat since they moved to Utah, but this one is in Salt Lake City, goes at 7 p.m. It's obviously a very important one. Utah, I mean, they're not really in the playoff race. They're kind of the only team left out of those teams in the West that aren't quite eliminated yet. I don't think Anaheim is mathematically eliminated yet, but we know they're done. Kind of the same thing with Utah here. It would take a miracle for them to get in. I mean, it would take a miracle for Calgary to get in, let alone Utah. But obviously a very big one here. Hopefully the Flames can get their first ever dub against the Hockey Club. Should be a fun one. Should have Dustin Wolf in net after Vladar obviously played last night in Denver. Now let's wrap up this video with the comment of the day, as we love to do here on the channel. Just thought this one was quite relevant, and honestly just a very good comment here from Lawrence. So Lawrence said, doesn't matter where we pick if Connie and the scouting staff continue to unearth quality prospects in the later rounds, as last year was a coup. And it's so true. I mean, losing our first round pick to Montreal, which is most likely what's going to happen unless we just lose pretty much every single game left, or win the lottery. But it's true. It almost seems like it doesn't matter where the Flames pick, because they seem to get some really good prospects. Think of last year's draft, picking up guys like Misa so late, Muse, Battaglia. The list goes on. Phenomenal draft. If they can do that again this year, Why not? We'll still have 2 first-round picks this year and next, so it's not the worst case scenario. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe like you saw here today and have a wonderful rest of your day.